the other hand, a Biden presidency might mark the beginning of a more friendly policy toward China. Personally, I think we need to take a hard line on the Chinese government. They don't play fair, so neither should we. However, Wall Street hates the trade war because it's bad for corporate earnings, and there's nothing bigger than corporate earnings, right? But this is mad money, not mad trade policy. So we have to factor in what it would mean to have, let's just say, a truce in the trade war. Still, we might have to put caveats on some of the stocks we follow, factoring in Biden presidency, which seems very likely at this point, even if Trump never concedes the White House. With that in mind, let's get toward the individual stocks in our game plan. I'm betting the week starts off with a genuine bang when McDonald's reports on Monday. I think Mickey D's is doing incredibly well because it's the easiest place to pick up food in the age of COVID-19, right? I mean, they're the king of the drive-through economy, and the drive-through economy is what we find ourselves in. And then there's Plug Power. That's my favorite way to play the coming hydrogen fuel cell revolution. This is a company that spent years lost in the wilderness, but now finally has real orders. Fuel cells are in 35,000 forklifts. It's the real deal. After the close, we hear from Occidental Petroleum, Oxy as we call it. I want you to listen. You know why? Because it'll be an object lesson in why you need to avoid the oil stocks. Some analysts properties. They report that they're the biggest and the best owner of shopping malls. Now, you may be surprised by how well they're doing, if only because Simon's likely to be the last mall standing, and that may have some cachet. They're trying to get out of a pre-COVID deal to buy Taubman, another mall operator, though I don't know how much they can say, because Taubman reports at the same time. You got to listen to this one because of all the pandemic-driven retail layoffs and store closures, and that's going to matter when it gets to you. We had a great unemployment number today, relatively, but you're going to start hearing about some layoffs in retail soon.
Beyond Meat Monday.
Now, this week's really front-loaded. We're going to find out about the renewed strength in the growth stocks when we hear from one of my faves.
After the earnings crash.
Meat. Remember, I got a vegan daughter. And then we got Ring Central. Holy cow, we've been behind that one for a long time. Now, Beyond Meat's been missing quarters because they pushed prices down to make their faux meat offerings more mainstream. That is a terrific long-term strategy, even if it hurts short-term. That's what you want. You want their stuff to be under the price of regular beef. Ring Central is a cloud-based communication software firm with a video offering that competes against Zoom. Now, I've liked that stock for ages. If it can rally into the quarter, then it will tell you a great deal about this market's attitude toward growth stocks. Remember, it's been hot and cold. This week's been great for growth stocks. Then there are two speculative vaccine developers, and they've both been on the show. Novavax a while ago, and then Novio Pharma very recently. Now, they're both working on something for COVID. Worth watching for that, even as I suspect it's not worth wagering on. I like the word wagering when it comes to vaccines, unfortunately. There's too much competition. Still, I expect something good from Novavax. They've got a trial out in Asia, in Australia. And Novia, let's just call it Novio because I'm a polite fella. A mystery. Tuesday, we get two reads on housing, one from D.R. Horton, big home builder, and one from Rocket Companies. That's that mortgage lender that I talk about. With low rates in America's fleeing cities for the suburbs and also the rural parts of the country, if only so they can have more leg room while they're trapped at home during the pandemic. I bet they both have really good quarters. Then we've got results from another vaccine play still. It's BioNTech, which is a partner with Pfizer. Now, they seem to have the lead when it comes to mass production. I'm confident that Pfizer's going to have something good for us, by the way. I also like Corsair Gaming. We profiled that earlier this week because it feels like the son of Logitech, one of our biggest winners. This will be their first quarter out of the gate. They tend to be good ones. On Wednesday, AirPods reports, and we love these industrial gas plays. Their top competitor, Linde, posted a solid number. I was surprised the stock wasn't up, but I expect more of the same, if even better, from Air Products. The cannabis stocks went nuts today. You see, some of them, the volume of them was many times the size of the actual float of the company. But that's because the prospect of a Biden presidency. They're trading like he'll legalize weed nationwide, even though he only campaigned on decriminalizing it. Marijuana would still be a controlled substance, but you get the equivalent of a parking ticket rather than a prison sentence for possession. That's not really a recipe for selling gummies in the grocery store, though, is it? Well, most of the pop plays lose money. There's one that I like, an American one, Green Thumb, and that does okay. It reports after the close, and I bet the numbers are going to be terrific. Be careful, though. The Canada's cohort's currently up on a lot of fluff, almost as crazy as the electric vehicle plays. Yet much has to happen before things truly go their way. But I bet Green Thumb gives you a thumbs up and a roadmap. We'll also be watching Lemonade. No, it's not a drink company, a consumer packaged good company. It's a newly public company that's using artificial intelligence to shake up the insurance industry. I expect strong results. I feel the same way about GoodRx, another newly public company. They're all reporting this week. It has an app that finds you the lowest drug prices. Expect good things when it reports on Thursday morning. I use it. I use the company. It is pretty amazing. First quarter out of the gate tends again to be strong. After the close Thursday, we've got three biggies. Disney, which stock acted very well today, Cisco, and Applied Materials. I don't know what Disney can say right now that would be all that encouraging given the pandemic, other than how well the Disney Plus offering's doing, but they've told us that. Cisco's been struggling of late, but it's a cheap stock, bountiful dividend, paying you to wait. Applied Materials is part of a red-hot semiconductor capital equipment cohort. That group is loved right now because the semis are on fire, and I like that one too. Finally, on Friday, we hear from one of your favorites, and in full disclosure, a company I do an online fantasy football program for a couple times a week called Bull Market Fantasy, and I'm talking about DraftKings. So it's difficult for me to comment. However, we know that sports betting was a big winner on Election Day, and anything that legalizes gambling is a big win for DraftKings, as well as, by the way, Penn National. With this incredibly positive week, earnings season is winding down, but there's still tons of important companies to hear from. Here's the bottom line. Next week, it will be unpredictable. My bias remains bullish. It's been a good call, hasn't it? Although we have to keep our eyes open because this is still kind of a crazy market, and we have one of the best weeks that I've seen in years. Scott in Colorado.
No, that's the...
Sure, that's why I always like to do things in measured moments, but go ahead. Doesn't matter.
We know we need to get the money back to work, but I don't want to be hasty now that we went through all of this.
Right.
So we're looking for some kind of market signal, a downtick,